Welcome into our latest edition of our Cubs Recap Podcast, a presentation of our Recap YouTube channel and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcasts with my partner, Gordon Wittenmeyer, who's seeing the Reds and the Pirates, Cubs and Reds coming up this weekend in the Natty, and the Cubs are playing the Miami Marlins. They lost game one. We'll get into it. I'm David Kaplan. It's brought to you by our great partners at the Illinois Tollway and their brand new If Only campaign. Folks, we've all said it before. If only I had slowed down. The Illinois Tollway's new campaign is called If Only, and it's a powerful reminder that speeding doesn't just put you at risk. It affects everyone on the road. So please, please slow down. All right, Gordon, let's talk about the lost night in South Florida. The Cubs come back from multiple deficits. They have a 7-6 lead, nobody on base, 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. Daniel Palencia throwing 101, but it was his third outing in 4 days, and he gives up a double that I thought Kyle Tucker took a really bad route on. It was a tough play, but a play that I thought he should have been able to have a great chance to catch, and he didn't. Then he walks the 9-hole hitter, and then for whatever reason, Michael Busch is playing way off of the line, and boom, there's a base hit over first base, down into the corner, 2 runs run in. See you later. Thanks for coming. I threw my remote. Hopefully it will work tonight. And the Cubs lose 8-7. Your thoughts on the state of the bullpen with Porter Hodge also now headed to the IL with a pulled oblique?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about when you mention the fielding in that inning and how maybe it wasn't on Palencia per se, right? But you score 7 runs, you got to win that game, and this is the issue that's facing the Cubs right now. Whether it's Ben Brown and what he did as he fatigued at the end of his outing and gave up a bunch of runs, or whether it's a bullpen that's getting leaned hard on because of what's going on with the rotation and really isn't one of the strongest bullpens in the game anyway, and now just took a hit with the Hodge injury. You got to win. You score 7 runs, you got to win. And really that offense has been the saving grace of that team all year. And we know that they got guys in the field that can catch the ball. So all the guys who aren't pitchers are doing their jobs. That's why they're in first place. But that can't sustain all season if they don't get pitching. And what did we just hear about? What is it? Yesterday, Council gave us an update on Shota well into June. He says before he comes back, and you're already dealing with missing Steele all season long. The rotation is going to be an issue all season long. Maybe they can patch together enough innings, but they're going to have to lean on that bullpen. And right now, that bullpen isn't strong enough to lean too hard on. That's a problem.
Yeah, I'm wondering this. When they get Shota back and he's going to begin throwing next week, they want to be extra cautious with that hamstring injury. So if they decide, okay, you throw next week and let's call it, I'll pick a random date, June the 20th. June 20th is when he comes back. And I have no knowledge of that. I'm just giving you that random date when he says well into June, correct, Council? Do you move Ben Brown to the 8th, 9th inning role? Struck out 8 last night. He's got a 96, 97 mile an hour fastball, a filthy array of breaking pitches. Do you move him there as opposed to the starting rotation where he's okay, but he's not great? What would you do there?
If this is a guy that you think you can get 3-4 innings of high quality out of at a time, then I think you do that. Whether that's a piggyback role, a multi-inning bullpen role, or back of the rotation role. Because the key here is to patch together as many quality innings as you can as you go. Again, we have guys that can catch the ball behind them. You got guys that can hit and score runs. That's already been demonstrated. You need to patch together as many high-quality innings as you can. So you need to get as many out of him as you can. It doesn't matter as much where in the game you get him. It's a matter of the most you can get out of it.
So our guy Guff and Katie were both at the Cubs game against the White Sox on Friday. And Guff had a chance to talk with Drew Pomerantz, who, give Jed Hoyer and his staff a lot of credit. This dude has not been around the big leagues in a handful of years. He's come up here and in his first 10 innings hasn't allowed a run. He's pitched really well. He got his first save in 5 seasons. And Guff asked him about not only his role, but trying to put together a bullpen of veterans and young guys.
I just want to, obviously you've only been here a couple of weeks, but with what you guys have been doing as a bullpen collectively, you have a lot of guys kind of, maybe not necessarily in your exact situation where you were out for a couple of years, but you have a lot of kind of starters turn relievers, and you're doing it together on a team that's in first place. Like, what's that experience been like for you?
It's been great. I've told people before, I was in AAA for the first 3 weeks, and I really don't pay attention to what's going on in the big leagues, to be honest, other than like your parent team, I guess, which would have been the Mariners. But I really didn't know. I mean, I knew some players here that have been here, right? But just showing up here and being around everybody and being around the pitchers and the group we have in the bullpen, it's there's so much talent. I mean, there's like half the guys come out throwing 99, which is kind of ridiculous. But we got a lot of talent, and we got a great group. We got guys like Palencia, who I guess was a starter at one point too, throwing like 101 out there. It's pretty awesome to be part of that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, when you got young guys like Palencia or Order, and then you have a bunch of guys like yourself, Flexen, Brad right here. Mm-hmm. How are you guys able to learn from each other? Like, how are you able to learn from the guys that are throwing 99 and 100, and then someone like you that's been in the big leagues 14, 15 years?
I guess it's just, attacking, and you sit around and you talk about the game. I like to kind of you just pay attention to what's happening and what the guys that go before you, or how they're getting these guys out. You might be in that same situation. Some guys watch video and, we have all our information and stuff, but I think the biggest thing is just learning from, watching what you're doing and how that might apply to you when you're in the game.
How has your perspective just changed? I mean, knowing that you haven't pitched in the majors in years, and to get this opportunity to come to a team that's competing, to play deep into October, and then to be able to do it at a high level, at least thus far, 9 innings into the season.
I mean, I'm just enjoying life right now. It's like it takes something away from you. All I wanted to do was just be back here playing baseball in the big leagues and getting a chance. And I'm just happy to be here, and I'm just trying to not take anything for granted, to be honest. And to come to Chicago on a winning team, it doesn't really get any better than that, to be honest. So I'm really just enjoying my time here and hoping to do what I can to help the team win some games.
Obviously, the work it takes to get here and stay here, you know it better than anyone. But do you pinch yourself a little bit when you're getting your first save in 5 years the other day? And walking out to Wrigley Field and seeing just knowing that today's going to be packed regardless of the opponent, but obviously with the crosstown series.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty awesome. I thought the way the lineup was stacking up there towards the end of the game, that it might be a lefty chance. But yeah, that was great. Thankfully I at least had a couple saves in the minor leagues this year, so it's kind of like. But I've done this before in the big leagues, and I've done so many things. I mean, to be honest, there's not many things that I haven't done. Just because I've been starter, been reliever, been closer, setup guy, long guy. I've literally done it all. So you just kind of go to that different place in your mind. Okay, closing the game, go out there, attack. It's not foreign to me, so I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
Last one for you, just with all the veterans in this clubhouse, a lot of guys that have won championships, and knowing that that's the ultimate goal. How do you guys collectively, because you've been in this league for a long, long time, how do you collectively never get too ahead of yourselves? And has that ever changed, actually, in your career, whether you're in first place or you're chasing? How do you always wake up in the morning, be where your feet are, and just try to win one game at a time?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can't speak for everyone else, but for me, I don't even know, I only know who we're playing next week because of, maybe my wife or my family's trying to come in the schedule, and got to make sure we got hotel rooms and all that. But I'm just focused on one game at a time, one series at a time, and just moving my job against those guys I got to face. And I don't even know what's going on. Just stay focused on the here and now, and get through a few more months, and then kind of come up for air and see where you're at. Hopefully, we just keep playing games.
So it sounds like he actually listens to our podcast, because my mantra, Gordon. I have two
I know.
of
I was
them.
gonna say he's got your T-shirt.
One batter, one pitch, one out at a time, or grab some sleep, wake up, grab a cup of coffee, and find a way to win a damn baseball game. And listening to him, he's like, other than my family needing hotel rooms, hey, man, I just go one game at a time. That's it. But having a guy like that who has a veteran presence, maybe he doesn't throw 101 like Daniel Palencia, but he can absolutely add something with his moxie to the staff, right?
No question about it. And really, more than that, he's being productive. I mean, that's what they need. They need the productive arms out there. And the fact that he's done it before just adds to that. It gives you some optimism that he might be able to sustain it. Now you got to go out and get more. You said give Hoyer and his front office credit for going out and getting this guy and getting him to the big leagues, ready to produce. Now go get David Robertson. Go get somebody else. Look, the Phillies just lost Alvarez, the guy that's been closing for him, to a PED suspension. They were already on the phone with Robertson, who pitched for them, just like he used to pitch for the Cubs, to see what was going on with him. They got on the phone with him again afterwards, and they're scoping that out. If they go get him and he's productive, if he fills much of that gap, if he's able to be 80% of Alvarez, then they win. I mean, it's as simple as that. If he's got something in the tank, go get him. It'll cost you money. It might cost you more than his market value. Go get him. You're the Chicago freaking Cubs. You need arms. Fix the end of that bullpen.
Yeah, I'm not convinced I want a guy who we're coming up on June and he hasn't even been in a camp. I'm not convinced.
What was Pomerantz doing before they brought him in and got him?
He was pitching in the Mariners system. He was in the Mariners system.
He was in the minors, right? He was getting
David Robertson sitting on a freaking couch somewhere. He's not in anyone's system. There's a difference. I don't want him.
Go take a look at what Robertson's done the last 3 years. And I'm saying the last 3 years on purpose. I mean, look at his whole career. But he's 40 years old now. I'm just saying, look what appears to still be in the tank in recent performance. I trust the hell out of that guy.
Yeah, he's a good pitcher, but I mean, he has not been in a big league camp or really I'm talking about an MLB sponsored or supervised throwing program. Not sure I'm willing to go $8 million or whatever the number is for him.
It's nothing. That's nothing for what these guys make. I mean, it's not $25 million. If it's $8 million, if it's $7 million, if it's $8.5 million, and if even if it takes him a month to get ramped up, start the clock now. Don't be waiting. Go get it done. I've said this for how many weeks now?
And no one in the game has signed him. Nobody.
He's going to get signed, and the Phillies are starting to look pretty smart. If they go get him. We'll see. I mean, you might have the last word on this. Somebody's going to get him, and we'll find out whether they get their money's worth, whether they get a return on value.
We're going to find out. Okay, so with Ian Happ back, Moises Ballesteros down to the minor league system, I would think he'd be.
Can I just share with you how sad that makes me? Look, man, I am the biggest fan in the world of fat guys in the big leagues. Always have been. If there's a place in the big leagues for fat guys, I have hope in my life. And I've always had an affinity for that. You know, that's why I like Dan Vogelbach so much. And so Moises will be back. I'm rooting for him. Guy can hit. Let's find a place for him again on the big league roster because I want to see him back in the big leagues.
He had a couple of knocks last night, but I would think he would be a piece that would be a good part of a trade to go get a high-end reliever or to go get a fairly high-end starter. I don't know what the package would require, but with Ian Happ coming back and PCA doing a really good job in the leadoff spot, would you leave PCA in the leadoff spot and put Ian Happ down, or would you put PCA down and put Ian back at the top of the lineup?
You know, I suspect I'm probably with you on this. I don't know, but the veteran guy who was there before he went on the IL, switch hitter, so you never have to worry about matchups. Ian Happ, I put him right back where he was. The lineup did so well in the early going. Don't fix what ain't broke. PCA's done great. He's done great in different parts of the lineup. I think he'll be fine wherever you move him. Maybe you find another optimal spot for him. Either way, obviously your lineup just got lengthened, a really good lineup already. So I don't know that you can necessarily go dead wrong with either one, but I really do like having the veteran back up in that leadoff spot.
All right, so let's assume he's back up in the leadoff spot. PCA is down a little bit, where he's had tremendous success. How would you structure the batting order if you went Ian Happ? Do you like Kyle Tucker in the 2-hole? He has been struggling significantly at the plate. Last night, thought he hit the ball hard, but right at the second baseman. Then he hits the ball hard right at the outfielder. He's making good contact, but right now, struggle bus is big time for him in terms of productivity.
I don't worry about him. He's one of the last guys in that lineup I worry about. Everybody goes through stretches like that. Every good hitter goes through stretches like that. I don't worry about that. If in the short term you want to play some mix and match with some of those spots with a lefty righty on the mound against you on a given day, bump them up, bump them down, put other guys in, a run producing spot, a closer to the top of the lineup spot. Go ahead and do that. But I wouldn't react to slump, because he's going to come out of it. And when he does, you're going to want him back. You're going to want him up there when he comes out of it.
So in terms of a guy like Kyle Tucker, I understand analytics say put your best hitters in the 1-2 hole. I would prefer to have him in the 3 hole. You like him in the 2 hole.
You analytically speaking, right, your best hitter goes in the 2 hole. But you got enough production up and down that lineup. You got legitimate choices. You could make it. You could put him 3, put somebody else 2. And again, you got left-right balance in there, quality left-right balance, so that you could do it based on left-right, with switch mixed in there. And you could do it based on who the starting pitcher is that night. But he is your best hitter, so I'd default to the 2 hole.
Okay, so if you go Ian Happ, Kyle Tucker, are you putting Suzuki in the 3, keeping him there?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay,
so.
Michael
Michael
Busch goes into the 4 hole. So you go switch hitter, lefty, righty, lefty. Are you all in on this? We've got to stagger it so it makes it harder on a bullpen move.
Well, not only does it make it harder on a bullpen move, it makes it harder on the starter too. Even the good starters that have great stuff that can get both sides out. It just gives a different look at bat to at bat to at bat. And there's an incremental mental fatigue factor when it comes to the outside of the plate's one side to this guy, the other side to this guy. I've got to use these pitches on a lefty, these pitches on a righty. There is just the look at bat to at bat does make a difference over the course of a time or two through the lineup. And so, yes, the other advantage obviously is when you get later in the game, then you got this 3 batter minimum with relief pitchers. It obviously is an advantage in that, but it's effective against starters.
Okay, so watching that game last night, and I know how people are on social because I was the same way in my freaking family room. Watching that game, Ben Brown gives up back-to-back jacks in the first inning. It's 2-0, 2 solos. Cubs come back. Miguel Amaya hits a 3-run home run that Stowers in left field. He goes up to get it. He's going to make a great catch. The ball clanks off his mitt and goes over the wall. 3-2 Cubs. And then Ben Brown's retired 12 straight. He's got 8 strikeouts. I'm like, this dude's filthy, dealing. And next thing you know, he gives up 4, and they got to yank him. Theobar comes in. They settle everything down. But all of a sudden, it's 6-3. Bam, base hit, walk, another hit. Cubs come back, and they take a 7-6 lead. It was actually 8-6, and Ballesteros, as he slid over home plate, his leg came up in the air. They tag him. The foot is clearly over the bag. Safe. And the Marlins correctly challenge upon review. The runner's foot never touched home plate.
By the way, I hate that.
Overturned.
I hate that as a challengeable play, because I think a runner is entitled to sovereign airspace. I think.
What?
You remember the 17 playoffs in Washington? Jose Lobaton.
Yeah.
Got picked off. Same deal. His leg was up. He beat the throw back to the bag.
So
he shouldn't have been picked off. I mean, if his whole body's up off the bag, that's fine. If it's just he's coming across the bag and his
are you out of your mind?
Look, if it's called out,
touch the plate.
You said it was above. It was above the plate.
Gordon, if this is the plate, his foot is like this. He
Exactly.
never touched the plate.
Sovereign airspace. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God, sovereign airspace. You are out.
He was called safe. Right? The initial call was safe.
And then as soon as they put the review on, I'm in my house. I'm like, well, he's clearly freaking out. How about putting your foot down on the godforsaken base?
Look, it's all about the intent, right? It's about the spirit of the rule and why it's in place in the first place. Do you realize in the 1800s, the bases were poles? Initially, there were poles.
I know you covered some of those games.
Exactly. And so the base wasn't just, and the plate wasn't embedded in the ground. I mean, so there was airspace.
Oh my God.
And I'm telling you, sovereign airspace. If the guy beats the throw and he's sliding across the plate, sliding across the base, as long as he doesn't go past it, the home plate doesn't matter, but the base, then he's safe.
Okay, so let me.
He should be if it's not egregious enough that it's picked up by the umpire in real time.
Okay, one of my favorite shows to watch every day, Monday through Friday, is called the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff. And I'm listening to some of his loyalists that call in or that are watching, and they send him messages. And the Cubs aren't committed to winning. But the Cardinals are, who went backwards in payroll because they've been red hot. The Cubs are at like 190-something. The Cardinals are at 146, I think it is. And they've been trying to move more money off there. But all of a sudden,
so who's
14 of 16 or 13 of 15, so they're more committed. It drives me freaking insane.
Well, it's the question is, like, who are you saying is committed? The front office and the ownership in St. Louis are not committed to winning. They were committed to taking a step back this year financially. The Cubs ownership, you could make the case, isn't as committed to winning as they should be. The front office certainly is. They're using what resources they're given to try to put the best team on the field. And you can criticize the choices they make if you want, but they're trying their asses off within their resources. It just depends on who you're talking about. Who's the ones not committed to winning?
Do you believe the Chicago Cubs are committed to winning this year with the way the team's gotten off to a start?
I just gave you my breakdown on it. I don't think ownership is as committed as the front office. The front office has a lot at stake. They have their jobs at stake, and they're in this window of win now, and they know how it works. They're the ones on the front lines putting teams together to try to win. They're in first place right now. They've got a better team going into the season. Certainly before Shota got hurt, and certainly before Steele got hurt. On paper, they were best team, easy in the division, and they should have been, and they were considered the favorites. They're in first place right now. Absolutely, the front office on down's committed to winning. The ownership is committed to giving competitive resources. However you want to say that, right? Competitive resources, not necessarily competitive with the Dodgers, not necessarily competitive with the Mets, competitive relative to the luxury tax threshold, more or less, most years. But they're committed to the business of baseball. And winning helps, but not at all expense. They're not committed at all expense. Front office is committed at all expense that they're given.
Okay. So our friend Jesse Rogers was on ESPN 1000 on Monday, filling in for Yurko. It was Carmen and Jesse. And the question by Carm was to Jesse, do you feel like the Cubs are going to win the division? He said, quote, I'm like a political reporter. I'm ready to call the race now. Yes, it's over. the Cubs are winning their division. And they're only one game up as we tape this here on Tuesday afternoon. Do you believe the NL Central race, in your opinion, is a lock for the Cubs?
No. What's the thing we've been talking about most of this podcast? Pitching. What's the most important thing in baseball? Pitching. Until they get that at a division championship level, which it is not right now, then you can't say that. They might out-hit their pitching problems over the course of the next few months. They've banked games early, so they have a lead. That all plays in their favor. They can catch the ball. That's going to make any pitching staff better. So they have all that going in their favor, and they might win it all, the division, based on that. But no way am I saying what Jesse says at this point.
He said it's like a political race. I'm calling it.
I'll tell you what. Be careful. You know that thing on the rearview mirror that says objects might be closer than they appear. You're talking about the Cardinals. The Reds have won five. The Reds have won 5 straight games. As we speak here on Tuesday, they got 2 games left against just terrible Pittsburgh before they face the Cubs. Haven't played the Cubs yet this year. They're 3.5 back, and they got Hunter Green coming off the IL Friday to face the Cubs in the opener of that series. Hunter Green, who was pitching like one of the best pitchers in baseball when he went on the IL with a grade 1 groin strain 2 weeks ago. If they win the series against the Cubs, and we're talking about the end of May, they're going to be where the Cardinals right now are breathing down the necks of the Cubs, and right now the Reds have more pitching.
Gordon, have a great rest of your day, man.
All right, you too, Cap.
Don't stub your toe there in Pittsburgh. Go get yourself a Primanti sandwich. They're supposed to be amazing.
Oh, I've had them. I love them. You know what? The best time to get one of those is 3 a.m.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've never had
You'll
one.
never taste a better sandwich than
I've heard
3 a.m.
that they are amazing. Again, the Illinois Tollway is the sponsor of our Cubs Recap Podcast and their If Only campaign. We've all said it before. If only I had slowed down. The Illinois Tollway's new campaign is called If Only, and it's a powerful reminder that speeding doesn't just put you at risk. It affects everyone on the road. And every crash leaves someone wishing they'd done things differently. So please take the extra time, slow down, save lives. Lives including yours depend on it. The Illinois Tollway's If Only campaign. Gordon, have a great rest of your day. Have a good trip. We'll see you back here in the studio next week.
You too, Cap.
There he is. For Gordon, for our great crew here, I'm Cap. Take that.